Premier League, or should I say a lot happening in Ghana football. The elections are done. The Ghana League Clubs Association, they've elected their new chairman, and a lot of people are saying the results mark a continuation or an endorsement of the Kurt Okraku administration. That's the man there, John Kofi Ansah, the security man who is now head of Ghalca. He's known for his security expertise, and often when the Black Stars are playing or big international games, he's the man in charge, an ally and a confidant of Kurt Okraku. So that could be an endorsement of the Kurt Okraku administration. Some would interpret that, but maybe not entirely. And the elections were obviously very important to the football people, with, you know, the likes of the Chief of Staff, as he's called, Osekre was there, the General Secretary, Prosper Harrison Addo. In fact, all the big boys in Ghana football made sure they represented. In the end, it went to, those are shots earlier on, and the clubs, and I know there's a breed behind it, the clubs have unanimously given their verdict for a continuation. I'll bring in Nana Edu and Josiah Okokwe to give us what exactly that means as well. We'll take a look at what's happening as far as the transfers are concerned. Final day transfer open, should I say closed. Who are the beneficiaries? Which clubs made it big on the last day, and who did not get their players? So we'll come back to the Ghalca elections very, very shortly. Nana Akwaba, it's a... Yeah, it's and Josiah, I know you guys were at the Accra Sports Stadium to witness the elections. How did it go? What was the vibe, the mood like? Nana, are you in shock? Are you still in shock? Are you weakened by the result? What's going on? What happened? Let's take us through.
I think,
we have some visuals too.
My problem recently when it comes to Ghana football, it looks like, we are making the Ghana football look like politics. So we have, party in power and opposition. So when you look at the Ghalca election, it's like George Efriye and Kurt Okraku standing for an election. Mr. Isaac Kumsin coming from the camp of George Efriye, and Mr. John Ansah coming from the camp of Kurt Okraku. So you can see prior to the election, Mr. John Ansah didn't do any interview with the media house because that was their plan ahead of the election. But Isaac Kumsin was moving from radio station one to other, TV station one to other, just to
share his
vision and campaign for the Ghalca presidency. But the football people, he was even in our studio last week, and I think it's a clear indication of football people voting for someone in support of Kurt Okraku. So voting for John Ansah is like voting for Kurt Okraku. And now John Ansah, from vice president now, the president of the chairman of Ghalca, John Ansah, succeeding Kudufiano. So he's coming to join the tall list of Ghalca president that we've seen in recent times. And I think it's a fine gentleman in Ghana football. I work in football for some time. I've seen John Ansah in Ghana football in the last 2 decades. So it tells you I passed through the rounds to do some so way. But my only problem is sadly never football opposition and government in power is a major problem in our game. So when you go to the Congress grounds, you can see, say, we're in favor of the current administration. We're in favor, of the opposition. And there's one thing that is affecting our game. And I am, even including journalists, who say, we camp. So maybe na do akọ Congress grounds. Obi who say, aminu shadow, it means, Okraku camp. Obi who say, it means, Jeffrey camp. That is how our football is going, and I think it's not good for our game. But for John Ansah winning the presidency as Ghalca president, he has passed through the rounds. Only Ajim Kumsin, he are not qualified. But I thought Kumsin, this is the third time we for Ghalca president, but But once the current administration is in favor of John Ansah, it's the main reason why he has won the chairmanship race.
Quite an interesting one there. You know, gives you an idea of exactly what's happening with Ghana football. But would you agree that it's an endorsement of the Kedo Kriku administration because Mr. John Ansah is coming from that block, which is the current, ruling block of Ghana football, as it were.
Incumbent. Yeah, but I think I would start by saying power is transient. Let's not forget that it doesn't really last forever. And I think based on the dynamics and what we actually saw transpire the elections, you could say that yes, perhaps he's coming from the camp of Edwin Simon Keto Kriku, and then you would also place Mr. Isaac Kumsen in the camp of George Free, who is a direct rival to the incumbent president of the Ghana Football Association. But I think we should rather focus on the mandate of the incoming chairman and what he has to do, because in recent years we've really seen the decline and the insignificance or the irrelevance of Ghalca as far as trying to protect the Ghana League clubs is concerned. There were 148 reps, so 20 from the Premier League, then a couple from the Division 1, and then also 20 from the Women's Premier League. So that should tell you that whatever he's coming in to do now should be more or mainly concentrated on the teams we have and how to improve, our league. I think you would love to argue. I could argue all day, and one could say or even refute or debunk those claims that, yes, we know directly these forces would definitely have a say in what goes on. And, the margin of victory is a landslide, and it's shocking to see, the vision and the ideas of Isaac Kumsin. The other day he visited us and what he shared and, what he was aspiring to do. It was quite profound, and you'd be thinking that for you to go through all the stress, the hassle, to try and make people understand what your vision is for the league clubs, or the Ghana League Clubs Association, and end up with such, meager votes. It's quite shocking to me, honestly. And it goes on to buttress the point you're making that perhaps there were, extremely bigger forces, trying to get this thing done for them. I think it's third time unlucky for him, and I don't know what to say, because 2016 losing to Kujo Fiano, 2020 losing again, then Isaac Kumsin comes on again in 2024, thinking that this time round he could be lucky and to lose. I don't know, but perhaps the new administration could draw him closer because he has some great vision for the Ghalca Association.
Yeah, could it be there's a gap now with there's a real distance between what the masses, the football people, that's the Kujo Fiano, former Ghalca chairman, and in the middle you see the minister designate for sports and recreation, also there Kofi Adams. Could it be, as I was saying, that the masses, the football lovers, the fans, other stakeholders are beginning to, there's a gap now between them and those football people who run the game, because they seem to be going in a different direction. They're very happy with what's the state of Ghana football.
And they own the football people,
not the masses.
Yeah, because the masses are not direct stakeholders, if you should put it. They
but
don't
the
vote.
masses are the biggest stakeholders.
But they are not direct. They don't actually tell who should be or who should lead a particular football
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Let's remove the masses. Let's take away the supporters, the fans, and even the media. Let's take those factions away. What would it be like? How would Ghana football breathe?
Yeah, I think we are headed towards a particular direction that looks a bit autocratic, if I should put it. And it looks like it's been pre-programmed how Ghana football should be run and who is running it. And that's why you look at the kind of, cliques we have so far, leading football in Ghana. I think we've been selfish, if I should put it, especially the direct stakeholders who have been tasked to revive Ghana football. And like I said, I think it would be fair not to sideline someone like Isaac Kumsin, looking at the vision and what he intended to add or even inject into Ghalca when he was vying for that position. And like you're saying, unfortunately, the masses do not decide who becomes the president of the Ghana Football Association. Neither do they decide who becomes the next sports minister. Neither do they decide who even becomes the next chairman of Ghalca. Yeah, there are delegates over there. There are people who have been tasked or whose mandate it is to see to that. So unfortunately, perhaps you could be a football lover. You could love Ghana sports, but yeah, directly you're not involved, or you do not have a say who becomes the next, president of a sports organization. That is quite sad, if you should ask me. Like you said, we are headed towards a particular direction, and it's quite dangerous for our sports if we do not revert, and try and fix things. Yeah.
Okay, thanks very much, Josiah Okukwe and Nanedu, bringing us up to speed with the Ghalca elections won by John Kofi Ansah. He's the new Ghalca chairman, and hopefully, this will turn a new chapter where Ghalca will become more prominent. In recent times, Ghalca has become almost irrelevant. That can change. The football people have spoken. Those are the football people there, most of them on your screen. So this is what they want, and they are satisfied. They're happy with the state of Ghana football. So who are we? I mean,
when you look at the people there, you can see where most of them belong to. Yeah, I can even watch the video. How can
you see? You can't see.
Watch the video. I know who voted for this, who voted for this. Because that is why I'm saying football not quite the incumbent and opposition. And I say, the current government and opposition.
Right.
And it's affecting the game.
Right.
So when you see the kind of people clubs who choose to come and vote, you can see where it's heading towards.
Finally, before we move on, can John Kofi Ansah unite Ghalca, bring the football people closer to the media, the masses, the fans? Can he bring the corporate people on board? Can he bring trust back into the game? Can we have a revival of sort? Does he look like somebody who has that vavavoom? Has he got that swag? Does he carry that confidence to bring football back to the table of swag? Very quickly, guys. Really, is a simple question.
Personally, I think the first thing I'm looking for, John Ansah, Ghalca to have in Ghana football, how Ghalca are relevant. That is the most important thing. In the last 4 or 5 years, Ghalca might be form. Even though Kudofiano was an influential person in our game, or was linked direct to the then government. So Nyamabu or Pa, it doesn't struggle to get it. But that is where not Ghalca won in the Kudi. But Ghalca as a body Nanga form. How many people even remember, John Ansah was his vice, the Premier League rep, Division 1 rep. They had 3 positions Nipa or on post. It tells you people were not interested in, competing for those particular positions at Ghalca. So once John Ansah has won the race, personally, even though he's close to the current administration, the most important thing is to make Ghalca relevant.
Okay.
As to be able to make united them together, and I doubt. Because so be say I'm in support of Isaac Kumsin and George Free Camper. There is nothing that you can do. But for say on changing that side. But my only problem is explain the direction. And the mama Gilby say, one year, the mindset of the current administration going for the 3rd term is likely to happen.
Okay.
Because this particular election, in 2027 GFA election. Because these are the clubs.
Third term, regardless of whether or not Ghana football is doing well, they would still like to go.
That is why the current ESCO members will be able to maybe they own the 123 people who vote.
Right, but not
the entire Ghanaians.
Okay. All right.
Because they know the people who will come and vote.
All right.
And that is the most important thing to them.
All right. Interesting. Well, I guess that gives us some clarity. Anyway, let's move on and let's talk about upcoming matches in the Ghana Premier League. Of course, good news for referees. 22 of them got to get in their FIFA badges. Congratulations to all of them. We'll touch on that in a bit. But this weekend, as I said, big games coming up. And in the transfer window, Josiah, Kotoko Hearts, I think the Porcupine Warriors did business. Hearts as well. Not a frenzy, by all means, but other clubs were also in the market. Maybe not as...
Kotoko were the busiest, actually, with 6 signings. You can see, I think you look at the departments which they signed these players to bolster, and mainly the defense, which they believe there's quite a lot, of improvement or needs to be seen over there. Because Adrian Daniel Ajete, who formerly was with Great Olympics, he had limited game time during his time with Great Olympics, but at this time it's Prosper Nate-Ogum who feels that he's good enough, to play as a backup to the right back. And then also Kwame Poku, he's already started banging in the goals for Kumase Asante Kotoko. Already has 5 goals in 4 games, since signing about 3 weeks ago. Tells you that he's really enjoying life under Coach Prosper Nate-Ogum. And then another forward, yeah, to augment the squad. So now Kotoko looks like a team without any deficiencies or, at all in any department.
And a quick one. It looks like this time, this window, it's all about experienced players. They're all very experienced.
You need it.
They've been around, right?
Because the second round, of the Ghana Premier League in recent years has taught us that, perhaps you could use quite, youthful exuberance, to see through the first round. But in the second round, you need a different element, and that's experience. And you can look on the screen and see the players that Kotoko have signed. He has a couple of players quite unknown, Sifai and Co. from Port City. No one actually knows him, but a chunk of them are the players who have actually tasted, Premier League football before. Isaac Minta scored double figures for Adriana Stars 2 seasons ago, a prolific striker. Kwame Poku had his first stint with Kotoko 6 months and he had to move. Now he's back. Feels like there's quite a lot for him to prove. And then the defender from Port City, who is Michael Sifa, not quite known though, but yeah, I can confidently tell you that lots of work had to go into scouting this chap. And definitely he would just slot in, and add up to the numbers they have over there. So for Kotoko, I feel a strategic signing from them, yeah.
Yeah, and we're seeing shots there. A very interesting blend of youth and experience, of young players and senior players, and some would say tall players and short players in this particular shot. But it just gives you the variety that the Porcupine Warriors are going for. And some good business, Nana do, free transfers. It's not as if they would have spent so much money this time around.
I think they are buying more experienced players to help their team win the Ghana Premier League. Also, the point on the league log in the Ghana Premier League, it clearly tells you that Asante Kotoko want to win the league. And the kind of team that Kotoko is building, a team of Africa, not just the Ghana Premier League. To sign, 6 or 7, I think they signed an additional goalkeeper. So 7 players in the second round of the Ghana Premier League tells you, say, Oman identify a weakness in the first round, and they want to strengthen it in the second round. You look at the striking department. Albert Amwa was the one who was doing everything for them in the first round. Omo realizes that going into the second round, they will need upgrade. They will need other players to help them. They brought in, Kwame Poku, Isaac Minta, and Samson Eduku to help Albert Amwa. Albert Amwa is out for 2 months. All of a sudden, Kwame Poku is doing
There's
the
a gap. Yeah. Quick one. Kwame Poku, before he left to Algeria, was the toast of fans. Not just Kotoko, but he was probably the top striker in Ghana at the time in the Ghana Premier League. Wakwaba, what is he bringing? The same kind of energy, more experience? Is he as explosive? Would you say this has been the catch of the transfer window, or say of going to Hearts of Oak?
I think it's Kwame Poku. It's the best signing so far for the second round, because Kwame Poku was one of the best players during his first term with Asante Kotoko. He moved to ESCT with a big money move, and due to injuries and other stuff, he needs to come back to this country. And I think it's now good for him to play for Asante Kotoko. A very good player. And yet injuries, now quite consistent. I'm sure Kwame Poku by now will be a key player in the last Stars, because Kwame Poku is a national or a better than all the strikers we have in the last Stars.
Yeah, sure.
The Kwame Poku me I know. So the national or without any injuries, no okay. He's ahead of the Inaki Williams, Antoine Semenyo. They may be good in their club. I always say this thing. As no former the club side.
Inaki Williams says, so you think, sir, based on current form, if he continues, your next AFCON, sorry, I beg your pardon, World Cup qualifier, he might be called?
All the Kwame Poku could not Ghana against Madagascar, Comoros, Chad, or put a better performance than Inaki Williams and Antoine Semenyo. When you look at the history of the Blasters, your players are the African qualifiers. It's not every player you won with Europe now the qualify with my ball. Tournament is different. Say the Yako World Cup, Yako AFCON. The approach and the style of play could be different. But when it comes to qualifiers, Antoine Semenyo cannot go to Comoros and you get the best performance from him. Change of environment, you not get the best of Semenyo.
Be a Liverpool cry scouting and say
playing for club side, that one is different. We've seen players some about qualify, they struggle. By tournament they do well. Kwame Poku can go to Comoros, Madagascar, Chad, Equatorial Guinea, Central African Republic. He will play like he's playing in the Ghana Premier League. But we bring Antoine Semenyo, Inaki Williams, so weather cry a problem, language a problem. So when it comes to tournament, you get a different performance from those players. But in terms of qualifying, your players are the ball. During the days of Ajiman Bedu, Antoniana, they may not be the best midfielders in the local scene or even in Europe. but they were doing well in the blaster. So me Kwame Poku Jan Naso, that's the injuries beyond by no ball consistently in the local league. The ball no ball no not doing that it's not the local league. Most of the strikers I've seen in recent times in the Ghana Premier League. So Mecca say the best time now Santo got to acquire this particular transfer window is to bring back Kwame Poku in the team to come and help Albert Samoa.
Josiah, Seto say another good purchase, oh?
Yeah, it is. But yeah, it's one thing bringing in the player. Seriously, I think that transfer stretched a bit more of a saga until they got it over the line with, and it's a good transfer. Yeah, this player is quite experienced. You look at him and he has a lot, under his sleeves and a lot to offer Accra Hard Work. But yeah, the question has to do with how he slots into this team. We've seen it with Mwasa Asante Kotoko. In recent times, yeah, they've brought in players and we've all thought they were going to struggle. They come in and they just hit the ground running. You look at a player like Albert Amoah. Everyone thought he was going to struggle because even at Great Olympics, he wasn't that prolific. He gets into the Kotoko team and yeah, he's already their top scorer with 8 goals. And it looks like he's their most trusted and reliable player. You look at Ablo, who came in from Guinea, a club from Guinea, and yeah, we're thinking he was going to struggle. So, it's all about how much time or what resources, goes into scouting the player and the kind of system being run for this player, to come in and get things done. And he's a good player. We've seen Sani Mohammed.
We've seen him when his medical was conducted. Looks like a young chap. Was very explosive for Ashgold when he was there. I think he was at his peak then. It's been a couple of seasons then.
He played very well.
So it'll be interesting to see how he settles in. He's not a newbie as far as the Ghana Premier League is concerned.
Not at all. Yeah, he's used to the scene. He's used to the stage, and we all know what he has. But he's been out of the league for a couple of seasons now, and he's coming back. And I believe a lot will be required of him. Expectations will be very, very high, knowing that this player has played in the league before, and he used to be one of the best midfielders we had in the league. I feel that there's a void being left by Sani Mohammed, who left a couple of weeks ago, and then also Salim Adams, who hasn't been there or whom we've not seen for some time now. And perhaps this is a perfect replacement for either of them, depending on how Abubakar Ouattara would want to go. But with Hearts of Oak, comparing the signings they've done so far to Kotoko, it's quite, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's a mismatch, but I feel they are just looking at their problems currently, and they feel these are the players to help them solve it.
I think they are very, very good players. I know Kwesi Asma and Sotosei. Kwesi Asma played for...
Not much is known about Kwesi Asma.
Tell us more about him. He played for Nagod in Division 1. Quality player in the Division 1, Zone 3. One of the key players in the Nagod team that is doing well in the, Division 1. A midfielder, holding midfielder. I can play number 6 and, of course, number 8. I see him as a direct replacement for Salim Adams, coming to help, Theophilus Collinson in the midfield. And I see Setosei as a direct replacement for Mohamed Sani in that particular position. So, what you have a situation now, they look at the profile of the player, Oko, and they will place that player in the team. And that is why they've signed only 2 players. And players, we will team more, but they are very good players, so they will help us. But the only thing they say, they need to be careful. Once Kwame Poku is in Asante Kotoko team, I'm saying this on this platform. Even though Obot did the second round of the Ghana Premier League, but Kwame Poku will win the goal king. Obot just the second round.
Washe goes on.
4 in the Ghana Premier League, 2 in the FA Cup.
Ghana Premier League.
Premier League, yes. He has played 2 games, he has scored 3. Sorry, 3 games, 4. Scored 4.
Right. Okay.
And the top scorer of the Ghana Premier League has 9 goals. I'm saying on this platform, Kwame Poku will be the top scorer after the end of the season.
Nana Kwame Poku, he's not there. This is the current, as far as the top 5 is concerned. He's not broken in yet, but of course.
Faisal Chawate 9 goals, Albert Amoah 7, Samuel Atakumi 7, Prince Keneboa 6, and Nana Kwame Opon.
It's a very bold prediction, but Josiah, I mean, he has a lot of work to do.
Yeah, perhaps based on his projections. Yeah, it's not so difficult if you are trying to use the current form and then you make your projections. But Faisal Chawate deserves a lot of credit as a midfielder who sometimes plays as an attacking midfielder. Scoring 9 in just 15 games so far this season is quite remarkable. And then you look at Atakumi, he's the only player to have scored a hat-trick so far this season. Good numbers for him since his time at Karela. He wasn't that prolific during his time over there, but then he's found a new home in BBNE, which is BBNE Gold Stars. Yeah, you look at that sheet over there, and then there's Albert Amoah. no one actually thought he was going to, bang in as many goals as we've seen him do. And there's a player that even during his days at Great Olympics, he used to play as a wide man. He also used to pair up a kind of BBN goal star striker, Michael Osei, up front. So he wasn't really tasked to get the goals for them. He wasn't their go-to man. But he gets into this Kotoko team, and it looks like there was a tweak of roles for him. So now he understands that he's the go-to man. He's the go-getter for them. And yeah, he's made it count. 7 goals, and he scored in the biggest fixture on the Ghanaian football calendar. That's Hearts versus Kotoko. And that means that his stock keeps rising. But I think with the introduction of someone like Kwame Poku, it means that perhaps if he's back from injury, looking at the pace and the rate at which Kwame Poku is scoring, yeah, in 3 games he scored 4 goals. So if every 3, I'm not saying every 3 games he's going to score 4 though, but
perhaps that gives weight to
that's what I'm saying. Based on his projections,
it's about momentum,
the momentum and the consistency with which he will play, because we have 17 more games to play in the second round.
That's quite a lot of games.
That's quite a lot of games, and we've seen players, experience drought as far as goal scoring is concerned.
Some would also say they'll use, let's say, the EPL example of Liverpool, who only brought in 1 player, Chiesa, who hardly plays, but they are ripping it. So Hearts of Oaks, 2 players coming in doesn't necessarily mean
if it's not broken, if it's not broken, you don't fix it. That's the point. And I believe that has been the mantra for most of these clubs when the transfer window open. You don't try to bring in so many players, then destabilize the flow.
You look at
and the balance.
Manchester City again in the EPL. They brought in new players.
Exactly, because it's broken, so they are trying to fix.
Right.
But Liverpool feels it's not broken. Why fix? And that's why I believe you look at Heart of Lions. Currently, I think in the top 3, and they made just 1 signing so far in the transfer window.
We'll talk about Heart of Lions when we come back. In fact, what's his name? Legon Cities, obviously, that young chap, Jemfi, and the new coach, Yaw Ampofo. So let's go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at Legon Cities and Heart of Lions.
GPL headquarters. GPL headquarters.
Okay, welcome back. It's the headquarters of Ghana Football, and let's take a look at some fixtures and then also hear from the fans, the stakeholders that we just cannot do without. It's very important we hear from them. I asked earlier, Josiah and Nanedu, if you take away the fans, what exactly would you have? I mean, they're the blood, the lifeline, the pulse of football. So we need to be very mindful of that and not to get carried away that the football people are the only stakeholders. But this weekend should also be pivotal for the top 4 clubs, or even 5, because the gap is so, you know, there's nothing much between them. Dreams FC must get something when they travel to Summerboy against Summertex. They're really not in a good position there. BBN Gold Stars, that's a big game for them. Legon Cities are also trying to, you know, get out of the doldrums of relegation. Adriana have not been themselves this season at all, on and off, inconsistent. Heart of Lions will be favoured to take care of them. But let me ask you guys, win, draw, whatever it is, home win, away win, between Young Apostles, before we hear the fans, in Swatraman, Young Apostles.
In Swatraman, Young Apostles, I think in Swatraman we pick the win. Let's
go back to the other fixtures. There you go, Nations, Bichim.
The game, Bichim are just playing so well. They should win that one. They've been very, very good.
The Phobians will take on Basketball Stars.
Straight win for Haas.
Sorry?
Straight win for Haas.
Away win for Haas?
Yeah, away win.
Karela, Kotoko, and Kumasi.
Asante Kotoko straight win.
I'm looking at an upset in that game. I sense an upset. But Kotoko, they have too much firepower now. I think Karela might crack at some point. Kotoko should win by a slim margin.
Kotoko win. Anytime goal scorer, Kwame Poku.
What you did? You did trust the guy, but yeah. He's a good player.
Very, very good striker. Very, very good striker. He was part of, you know, Sika Kono's Blaster scene. But because of injury or Algeria situation, he was out of the Blasters. By this time, Kwame Poku should be our leading striker in the Blasters.
Oh,
yes, obviously.
When by the way, on the topic of Black Stars, I don't know if, you know, before we listen, okay, let's listen to the fans. Let's listen to the fans. When we come back, we'll talk about the fact that it's been confirmed that Otto Addo is staying. Let's hear from the fans. Right.
Me a full phobia member. By 2 minutes, I started born. Now she said the name by what 3 matches be really there. A big crisis in your form. Into what for now, but she and the to 2 years. This is team I any dear. Yamas Uncolano, I made a shave. This is the acquire a Bogumu 3-0. Crani Aquia and this is the Timino, Edgen Naso, Jagan Naso, the Pesa by Jelegan about to question out to a shache, and the Pesa share someone in Jade, yet here on pass, this are the Cotoquashia pants, the Pesa sharing, as someone at Tion.
I said, what touching what Lusu got I can see about war. What she looks about work over. That's about woman. Honestly, about woman. She got to come at Bona. I may about me.
Second round here, Kotoko for Yabamaya home sopa. Yamatimbia Medeja home. Oh, has the second round as and dear one fu. Don't make us well for we want first match on Belusu.
Karena ni Kotoko. Oh, Baom is the definitely return match in the bed, the penny the penny. 2 years there. Ya beden, ya baby nyom. Kotoko baby nyom.
Has ya kwa ready and say Ojide say ya be she. Players no more focus na any serious first one number share wa class for stadium ti. We any abrepa, e be sure mo be 4 kra. Just supporters na mom kra na mom ko fe.
Boy mitimu say Kotoko yan se kwa na nye trainer. Wala se me jiri say league we ya league we. Se de be ya Ghana football be tumpon na Kotoko yetima ko Africa. Na no so no ya boy homode na yetima ade cap odi ama o ma Ghana.
It has be she. Send us all. Someone have a share on Accra. Vim na ede ko e be show.
Some match na has no war. Me sure say has be show mo. Hands down. Last time Uncle said Uncle in my heart, but this time around me sure say boys no bobo modern. Now I'm be show mo cry. I'm be ejuma no.
Got to call Karala first one no share no. Ni team ni second round you be share Karala 3-1. You be share 3-1. Oh. Na bibia na Karala no ne Kotoko ebobo. Na Karala no de kanyom sai zombe gine ye nim kura. You be share mo 3-1.
Fabulous is a bet team bia. Abai akwono pa. Because Jamil ko na first one na ho chia no. Inye go back a na yate support say did ko ntumi didi. Ba second round pay mpemfu aka yima abo matisa Fabulous mo e de. Support strikers mo bogum. Ya Sunday train ya 4-1 ya fansa ya me aduma second one they started. Ya boy say baba ya la obiambla ntam. 12 o'clock na stadium ayama.
Proper Kotoko announcer. Yeah. I think Kotoko seem to be going in a certain direction, which suggests the momentum is there. It's all good. It's interesting listening to those fans. Let's hear from Yaw Ampofo and Emmanuel Jemfi, and then we'll also touch on Coach Otuado confirmation that he will remain, and then the management committee, their work starts. It has begun. The countdown to Ghana versus Chad is on. So let's hear from Legon Cities this time.
Attention to say Edema Legon Cities. Me a new coach. Me buy I think say me buy about 3 or 4 days. Any house boy. Now I was supposed to be at the bench. I was supposed to be at the top and watch the game, but I decided to be at the bench to help the team. It's unfortunate that we couldn't win that match, but we were able to beat Dreams last Sunday, and as you can see, we are on it, preparing for our next game.
Second round, a day, and I would go a Quema, Ebama Lagos City to escape relegation.
Oh, Yeguso, as you can see, Yeguso, a preparation for our survivor. That is the mission. That is my mission here, to help the team survive from relegation. And it's a teamwork. Collectively, no. Yes, Bibia fine.
Second round, the window be a fire signing, sir. Lagos City's signing, what may be now, Dodo Sanamai.
To my knowledge, about 4 or 5 signings. I believe a baby free team in the year.
And then I was expecting fee. I need signings, no.
Yeah, I think they are all here to help us. It's my wish, he said. What my mission, I'm going to buy and to me fulfill one mission.
Well, mostly, I didn't according to first one, but due to intercobiacy Israeli Lebanon team, I wasn't able to make it. Johnny, I know it's a terms I mean no more, and then me about with my coach to help the team move out from where they are, because it's always not lost. Here at table, no. Yeah, they say been bench into me. Say definitely the team will survive. Into me, Banama Babu Amina, there are most of the players here we seniors near there, but said also I'm also part of them. Yeah, they say me sure Munkran say, oh, it's not lost, because here table now, just a match, you will be through, and then to motivate them, Premier League Neabono is the highest level of Ghana football. Into Obia Shen Hong Cry now, and bit move the team forward. Oh, sure, because there's a relegation in the Legon City because of the other. Because we shall see them Dika league log. They say been super just a match slip will put you to a place your team limpe. In the NCF, because they say winning most of our games in the second round, near team move the team out from the relegation zone. And I promise them, say we are not going to the relegation this season. The
A win would move them up, 17. They'll get 17 points if they get a win there, but it's tough for them. Guys, Karela above them. I mean, that's Legon Cities, but Karela above them against Kotoko. If they lose, Legon Cities win, they swap places. It's a huge game.
That is Elijah Salasi.
Yeah, that's Stone Boy's kid brother. Free transfer. I've not seen him play before, but I hear he's a pretty decent baller. And Robert Addo,
since winning the league, becoming surplus to requirements, and then had to leave it. Then I feel the mission is just simple for these players. Emmanuel Jemfi, Kwekumenu, who is back to the Ghanaian league, and then also for Emmanuel Jemfi. Yeah, it's just to help Legon City survive.
They said that Wakasu Ibia, he will come to Hearts on a free transfer, right? Yeah. And a lot of the players as well, good quality players. Free transfer.
Yeah, but that's the norm in our league. Hardly do we find teams, pay cash, considerations to other teams for players, and that's why these players, on an average, will sign a year or 2 contract.
And the player gets he'll get a good package.
Exactly, because he didn't want to commit for a longer term, and then at the end of the day, could put himself at risk of not moving when the time is right. But for Legon Cities, they should be careful. All the teams down there, in the red zone, they should make sure that the other teams do not drift further away, because the more they do that, the more difficult it's going to be for them. If I could have the table, you could see the permutations over there. And I feel the likes of Basaki Holy Stars, Vision FC, gradually they are beginning to drift away, which could make it very difficult for the likes of Dreams FC, Accra Lions, and then also Legon Cities. And I just feel they should be very, very careful. They need to start racking up points. If not, in the next 5-6 games into the second round, if you are still in the drop zone, then perhaps you'd say that they are just destined to go down.
That is why America say, any football people we are into government, the players. That is why the current government promises, you'll have some amount of money on Ghana Premier League players. So, someone like Dr. Randy Abia, own position where somebody like Randy, I'm happy for him, even though me wish they say when you cocoa board air quadia, escrow the man saw the tour. Personally, because level now what rise there could know. You don't get to that level and come back,
on your time.
No, personally, me feel say Randy Abia in Kawedi, we imagine him in ka escrow the man often to her. No people from Mebua, no friend in him there no as a leader there no and supporting Ghana football.
Maybe at end of the season.
So that is my
because Heart of Lions are doing so well. Potentially,
they can win the Ghana League,
and they need his leadership.
By his leadership, and who he has to be what Esco so because this time no, who are buying mu, who a penny
influence, right?
Personally, Esco, if I to her concentrate on you being a CEO of Cocoa Board. That is my personal opinion.
Okay, very interesting. The phone lines have been activated, guys, so you can get in touch with us. Tell us what you think. A lot of players making the rounds. Quick one on the Black Stars, but let's go to Blake Kuma, to Dominic, and then we'll talk about to Ado. Situation. Ablekuma, Dominic.
Hello, good evening, Matayao.
Okay, let's listen to you.
I'm saying analysis na be brief ko sign place be brief. But Matayao so obesha. Kotoko ibi uba left back wa. Yini back abia ho. Something na oko right back, yini back abia ho. Esmat ejani ko yi. Any striker, well, if you have to check it and the place look on not and so over center back. Now, from where tripe, Oko has to put center back, Umuka 5, but the connect tripe. Since the end of the almost and the blue, but why strategic recruitment? Don't say attack one at the time of one who play asa. So, it's got to go no. That's a good sense now.
Okay.
That's
it. Thank you very much. So the fans are also very much aware that strategic buying, and let's just buy players. They've really gone and got quality players for those positions.
Before the start of the first round, Kotoko senior players, they were 23, and team no co-US, 2 of them, the Sudanese players, left the club, so it was left with only 21. As it stands now, Freddie Kasari is injured. So he left with 20 players. And there are other players almost who the injury list. Elvis Chibafo and some other players on the injury list. So that is why they signed 7 players to make their team strong.
7. Okay. Seth, good evening. As you saying, how are you?
Good evening. I'm good. How about you?
Very well. Let's hear from you.
Okay. So about Kotoko signings, I think they've made perfect signings, and then they'll be able to win the league.
Because of the signings, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right.
I tip them to win the Ghana Premier League. And then on Otuado, I think the FA must be straight on him. Yeah. They shouldn't impose players on him, though, but they must be straight on him. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Because concerning the captaincy, I think if he was able to leave us and then continue his Bayern job, when we needed him to assist Milovan at the AFCON, then he can give Thomas Partey another second chance for him to come and help, because he's playing very well at Arsenal.
All right.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good points. Otuado, the FA should be strict on him. They should give him a chance. But I thought it's the other way around. The people feel that rather Otuado may not be having the free hand. I don't know what your observations are, whether you can speak to that issue.
It looks like, Otuado is staying for our
It's been confirmed by the
chairman.
Yes.
Okay. Me personally, na me percenka omujana kwai because, failing Ghana ahead of the AFCON tournament, say Ghana into man qualify and AFCON there. Coach Okoni doesn't need to stay to be the head coach of the Blasters.
Is it that Yanko AFCON and now the manner in which I Yanko AFCON? That Yanko AFCON maybe 1 point be and a good difference.
We didn't win any game good out of the 6 games.
Good.
And I'm sure contract no one in the sign is the reason why Otuado is staying.
Okay, let me bring Josiah in.
Once you say, backroom staff there, most of them will not be with him. But she'll tell you, say, if you realize something was wrong. Now, be wrong there.
Not the head coach.
Head coach in there, now assistant coach there. That.
Nana, okay, let's go to Dancerman first. Alex, hello, good evening.
Good evening, good evening. Mo pane baku ka se bi mani anjukra. Se kwampoku better show na Onaki Williams anyway. Se no there's no okay.
Sir, I review.
On the book or 2 kwano uncle when your contract or uncle forward.
Also count there, sir.
Yes, no can ball of body stamina, no be that ball. They ball no ball. Oba say a Ghana ball a ball. Ghana ball here ball. Which goes is a ball. Ghana ball.
Ghana ball. Any ball.
Goes social with goes almost here. Team has a crap pen. Liverpool crap pen. And Liverpool crap.
Oh.
So no. I play. I will see Kwapu the ball. And that will see way.
And Nana
signing also because me has the few but Kotoko sign good players.
Okay.
Oh my idea. But as there, if you say players I want if they are okay, see them you be flame one. The was
okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm saying the topic is now that Nana is saying Kwame Poku is. Also, he can be better or is
I
better.
think it's in context.
It's in context
of
context.
Right. He needs
I'm
talking
about the Blasters.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The Africans.
I don't know why he's egg though, but it's quite controversial sometimes, because anyone who here said might be thinking, Inaki Williams or Kwampoku is a better. But I think, that's one thing. We shouldn't always underrate or underestimate the qualities of some of these players that play in the local leagues. Yeah, there are so many quality players. And the local league is very, very competitive. It's very, very competitive. Sometimes, we sit down and feel, the reason why we don't score many goals or we don't see, so many goals in the league is because we have good defenders. Yeah, we have equally good strikers. We have very, very good strikers. But it's just due to the competitive nature of our league. Yeah.
Quick one
on the old Otuado.
Okay, before that, Kwame Poku going to Atletico and Inaki coming to Kotoko. What would we see if that happened?
It depends. Let's not forget that Inaki was born and bred over there. It's different. Cultural differences. It's quite a lot. A lot goes adaptation and all that. So it would be very easy for you to say, okay, I can move Inaki Williams into Kumasi Asante Kotoko and just transfer Kwame Poku there. But
that was just by the way. A quick one on Otuado though.
Let's not forget that Otuado has been a Black Stars coach before, and during that stage he qualified Ghana to the World Cup with a different set of technical team or bench. He comes in again. He's been tasked to qualify to the AFCON and he fails. You wouldn't tell me someone who has qualified you to the World Cup before won't be or is incompetent enough or doesn't have what it takes to qualify to the AFCON. I wouldn't buy that. I just feel they've sat down, the FA actually sat down and the management committee sat down to think about the fact that perhaps he did it the first time, but this time maybe he didn't get enough support from his assistant.
Or World Cup luck.
Yeah, and your World Cup luck, he's done it. It's not about luck. It's
so
competence.
What was it?
It's competence.
Okay, but AFCON incompetence. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Guys, thank you very much. Nanedu. Otuado is he's a friend of mine and he knows, we love him a lot. But the World Cup qualifiers like on every Ghanaian's chest, so he must succeed.
But just 10
time
seconds.
okay,
I wish
10 seconds.
Ibrahim Tanko and Adan assistant coaches will come and support to
yeah, sure. We'll see.
Once the last two under 23 team, no, Ibrahim Tanko and Nekita team, no, he's best fit to be an assistant coach for the Blasters.
All right, thank you very much, and ladies. We thank you. Well, this weekend is soccer finals in Accra. We have time back. It's on Sunday. We're going to have a lot of fun inside the game itself. So, thank you all. Enjoy the rest of the night, and also enjoy the beach soccer on Sunday.
GPL headquarters.